Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Sacred and Secure Pod. It's your girl, Chris. I'm excited for today's conversation because Ashley is someone who has experienced highs and lows, pivots and lessons, and growth that comes with life and career. Today, we're getting real about corporate life, evolving dreams, dating, confidence, all the things, and navigating what does your 40s actually look like. If you ever wondered whether you're left behind, starting over, or stepping into something new, this conversation is for you. Everyone, welcome Ashley Davis. There is
Mhm.
still an assignment that God has given you, in my
Yeah.
opinion, that just has not been done yet. And so one of the things I
hmm
had to tell myself was don't abandon the assignment. I'm
That's
still
good.
here. I'm still here. Like there's a reason why I haven't moved to the next level. What does that look like? For me, it
hmm
looks like being open to having conversations with different people. Sometimes it looks like, okay, I got to go pray for this stranger because God is like,
Yeah.
hey, go and pray for this person.
Everything is not about you. And that's one lesson I had to learn. It's just like especially when we're trying to pursue career goals or anything that has to do with us making more money and establishing ourselves, because a lot of times we align it to our identity. However, everything is not about you.
I agree with you. Nothing, you say everything isn't about us. Honestly, none of it is about us. And I think too,
Yeah.
like living in this American culture, even when it comes to
hmm
church culture, the church has done a terrible job. Just the overall church, not, a specific church, but overall, in my opinion, the American church has done such a terrible job of teaching that this walk with Christ is about sacrifice. A lot of the things I do now honestly came from it was all birthed from a really tough place of pain. And I finally
Mm.
said, you know what, Lord, I'm gonna stop playing with you because I played with the fire too much. And so
Yeah.
I've seen what disobedience looks like and it wrecked me. I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm gonna live for you now. And within that
Yeah.
year of me like fully going from him, or sorry, going for him, he gave me, the vision to do the podcast, to do the Bible studies, to, put out the books and to do other things because I finally gave him my real yes. But I wouldn't have
Yeah.
given him my real yes if it was comfortable for me. Like it
Yep.
took me being at this
Yep.
bottom, the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. Literally, I remember when I was going through this situation, it was exactly a year ago from today. And I had to
Mm-hmm.
take off work because I could not function. I had such
Mm-hmm.
a terrible time functioning. The only thing I could do was watch TV. And I'm like, Lord, if I don't watch TV, somebody gonna have to admit me into a mental ward. Like it was bad. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this minute by minute. It was just such a terrible time for me. But again, I look back on my experience now, just over
Yeah.
the past year, from last May to this May, and I'm like, God, you brought me through.
Yeah.
And I look at your life and all the things, you never really, went into detail, but all the things I know that you went through that you struggle with. And I see you now, how you're still like, you know what, Lord, okay, I was low, but like, I'm going to continue
hmm
to serve you. And again, I admire that about you. So, girl,
Thank you.
I'm giving you your flowers today.
Thank you so much. And I
Yeah.
want to add something to that too, because you talk about when you give God your yes, right? To your point, it happens so quickly. As soon as you say yes, He can change things in an instant. I too went through this period of struggle, and I finally had to surrender to Him. And when I surrendered, my life changed almost abruptly. And so it's all about that surrender. But to your point again, it comes from this deep, dark place. And it's sad that God got to bring us to our knees like that. However, it's just like, unfortunately, we don't like to listen to Him when we're doing well. We think we got it under control. And so sometimes it takes those really, really hard, dark moments to come for us to be like, okay, God, I'm finally listening. And also to admit, like, hey, I need you. I need you to help me in this situation, and be willing to to allow him to order our steps. And so I just think it's really, really, really important that we allow God in and quit fighting, because a lot of us have been running. I'm a runner. I'm a
We're
runner.
we're track stars.
I'm a
Absolutely.
runner. We keep running. And he's like, no, you're gonna have to stop. And he may not do us like he did Saul, right? Um,
Or Jonah.
however, yeah, yeah. But at some point, something is going to happen, and you and it shouldn't take all that, but it does, right? Because we have too many conveniences. Now we got chapter. That's what we call Chat GPT. We call her chapter.
I call her Chatty
Okay.
Patty. Okay.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love the chat.
We have all of these resources, and even with all these resources, at the end of the day, it's still delusionment because we still need God regardless. Because change can come in an instant, and we really don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, or we really don't know what we think we know. And so He's really been revealing that to me, and so I'm allowing myself to trust Him more and more. And so I'm appreciative of this opportunity just to speak about this with you, and I hope that whoever your listeners are, they can stop running too.
Amen. I absolutely agree with
Hmm.
that. Like you're saying, we're all track stars, right? Like we
Yeah.
all, are running, literally running the race, but also running away from God. And immediately, as soon as you started talking, I thought about Jonah, right? God told him,
Hmm.
you need to go to the darkest of the darkest people, and you need to,
Hmm.
go and prophesy to them. And Jonah is like, Lord, if I go there, these people are gonna kill me. And God had to
Hmm.
swallow him up, in a
Yeah.
whale for 3 days because he was
Yeah.
running in order to get his attention. So he was literally in darkness for 3 days, not eating, not drinking, in this belly of a beast. And then that is where God met him. And so you
Hmm.
are right. Unfortunately, most times we do have to get to a point where we're broken in order for God to restore the
Hmm.
pieces. But that's where God meets us, and God knows that He's going to meet us in that brokenness, and God knows that we're not going to meet Him if we're not broken. And so
Yeah.
I love too that the Lord just considers our journey, like wherever we are, He knows the steps that we're going to take, and that He always meets us there. So that is definitely encouraging. My next question for you is, what part of yourself are you finally giving permission to exist in this season?
Oh, I love that question. That's beautiful. I would just say my voice. I told you before we started this podcast, I said I purposely did not rehearse anything, any responses. And the reason for that is because, I've struggled. So, in general, I'm a confident person, but when it comes to platforms, when it comes to spaces where I know that I can excel, I start to like shrink, and I start to, playing the comparison game, and I start to doubt myself and my natural gifts, my natural abilities. And so I have to give myself permission to be me. Say it the way you gonna say it, right? You don't have to worry about speaking um or
Eloquently.
showing up.
Hmm.
Yeah, showing up like anyone else. I can speak eloquently, but it can be my version of eloquence,
Hmm.
And so there are a lot of people that inspire me and a lot of people that I admire, especially in this particular space. And even looking at you now, right? I'm like, wow, she's really, man, she really knows what she's doing. However, I have my own voice as well. And it's just like, you got to recognize what you got and you got to go on. And so, Ashley, and I have to talk to myself like this. I do. I have to talk to myself like this. Like, Ashley, you're amazing, and it's okay just to let yourself be yourself. And there's this Dr. Seuss line that somebody had wrote in a birthday card, and I thought it was just so funny. But it says, "No one's no one's youer than you, and that's truer than true." And it's just like there was no one else like you on the planet, and no one that ever will be, right? And so you have to get excited about that. And you got to do the work to be able to build yourself up so that you can find out what your identity is and who God has created you to be. And the moment that you do that, you're going to thrive. You're going to be successful. And you'll realize like everything that you thought Everything that you thought was going to hold you back, that's the very thing that's going to propel you forward. And it's just like when I begin to speak like Ashley, when I begin to, have my own little cadence and do my own little thing, it's just like, man, girl, you're a natural. You're really good at it. I'm like, you know what? I guess I am. And so I got to get other people's voices out of my head. And I also have to quit playing the envy game, because that's what happens too. We like to covet and be envious of other people's gifts. It's like, no, you got to focus on your own gifts, and you got them. And a lot of people don't know their gifts, but you got some gifts. And it's probably that very thing that you think ain't a gift, because it comes so naturally to you. And so, yeah, for sure. It's just like
I love that.
my authentic self is what I had to finally give way to, and just be okay with being me.
And that's enough, right? Like your
That's
authentic
enough.
self is enough. I love that God give us our own fingerprints. Like there's no one else in the
Yeah.
world that has like your exact fingerprint.
Yeah.
And as I'm thinking, like, I think I read a post or something where somebody is like, no one has to tell a tree how to be a tree. Trees are so
Yeah.
important. Like they give us oxygen, they give us shade.
Hmm.
Trees are, can withstand any kind of temperature, pressures, and they are there for a really long time. But no one's like, hey, tree, go and be a tree, go and supply oxygen, right?
Right.
And so for us,
Absolutely.
God is like, hey, like you are the exact person I created you to be. No one has to go and tell you, hey, to go and do this, because God is like, I put that in you. It's whatever I
Mm.
put in you is already coming out. It's coming
Yeah.
out of you.
Yeah.
And so you have
Yeah.
to give yourself permission to allow those things to come out of you. Not what people said
Mm.
about you, but let what come out of you, let it be what the Lord says about you. And for me, I
Yeah.
also struggle with that sometimes. And so I can't tell you how many times I have to go to scripture. We were talking about envy earlier, and I
Hmm.
was reading the Ten Commandments because I'm like, I kind of forgot them a little bit. So let me go in and see what they were. And I think that the last commandment, the 10th one, is thou should not covet thy neighbor's
Hmm.
house, spouse, or anything. And I'm like, social media exists for us to live in
Hmm.
this sin, constantly comparing ourselves. And so I'm like, I got
Hmm.
to get off of social media. Like, I'm going to post, my content. But in this season right now, in order for me not to
Yeah.
compare and to keep seeing all the girlies getting married and having kids, I need to remove
Yeah.
myself. And it's okay
Hmm.
if that's, what I need to do for my mental health. And it's not that, I don't wish them well, but sometimes we tend to
Hmm.
think, oh God, but like, you promised me that. You promised that to
Yeah.
me, but it's theirs,
Hmm.
right? Because also, if you're gonna want what somebody else's want, you got to want their trials. You got to want,
Yeah.
the burdens that comes with their gifts. I don't want
Hmm.
it. I don't want the
Yeah.
the things that you had to experience to get there. The loss, the death of parents,
Hmm.
the divorces, the heartbreak. I'm good. You can keep it, okay? I want what
Absolutely.
what is for me. So I kind
Yeah.
of want to pivot a little bit. I always say this is one of my favorite topics, dating.
Let's talk about it, girl. Let's talk about it. I
Okay,
won't
so
mention
how
no
has
names, but we can talk about it.
we don't have to
All
say
my
names.
exes live in Texas, okay?
So how has dating changed for you as you've gotten older and more confident in who you are?
I'm so excited about this space, this question, because I finally get to share my truth with the world, and that is I do not date. And some people may not believe that. I do not date because it is it's horrible. It's like I hate it so much. Like I hate it so much because you get so many representatives that show up. I like to carry myself a certain way, and so when I show up, I like to show up. And oftentimes people will look at you and they will they like to use manipulation and turn themselves into this what I call representative, right? And so they can say all the right things, um, do all the right things up front. And then once you give them an opportunity, they turn into someone else. And so the dating experience, it's so gamey. It's too much like a video game. I like real authentic people. I like real authentic conversations. And let's just be honest. We live in a lustful society. It's a lot of lust out here. And at the end of the day, like, I truly want a man of God. I truly want to be with a man after God's own heart, and a man that is not about playing any games. And oftentimes in this dating space, and you know how people are like, oh, well, you should date multiple people and try this and try that. What are we getting out of that? Because I could buy my own food. I don't need you to take me anywhere for a meal. I could buy a meal. I could buy a steak dinner. I can. And
Ooh.
I be hungry, so I will. I order a steak. Okay.
And let
I
me
don't
just say
need,
too, what you're saying is very countercultural because there are women, including me,
yeah.
sometimes who have been like, you know what, I don't like this man, but I'm gonna go ahead and give me some food, okay?
And thank you for a minute. No, because people are real big on that. But can I share this with you? I don't like, I got to a point, especially I would say within the last 6, 7 years, I don't want to give anybody any of my energy because I learned how valuable it is. Just my energy alone. I don't want to give you any of my space unless you are someone who is worthy of that. And that's not in an egotistical way. That just means that I'm looking for something and it has nothing to do with your physical appearance or your pockets or wallet. These are intrinsic things. These are intrinsic characteristics that you possess. These are all intangible things that come through via conversation. So guess what? Half the time we can't get to the date because within that first conversation, within that first 5 to 10 minutes, not even that long, let's just be honest, the way that you're speaking, I can already tell, nah, this ain't it, because they show up and they end up, right, because I need you to come with a certain level of intellect, but it's really ain't even that big of a deal. It's really just knowing how to carry a conversation and actually not come looking for something, because a lot of people come with their own agenda and they're really looking to get something out of you. And so there's not that many people just showing up authentically and just raw, right? They want to put on this show. And so for me, dating is just not an option. And I know, like, well, how are you ever going to find a man? Like, the Lord, He going to help me. We're going to figure it out. I don't have no real answers for you guys right now, right? However, well, actually, I do, because I did end up meeting someone. That's a long story. We can talk about that later on your next podcast. But that was it was kind of like really like a miracle in a sense, right? Because it's the fact that I do not date. However, I ended up in conversation with someone who I'd already known for years, and we just so happen to be in the same space. And that relationship has ended up growing into something else because we both were willing just to be friends. I don't want nothing from you, and you don't want nothing from me. Let's just hang. That's what's up, right? And that's really how it should be. Like, I don't like the pressure of dating, you know. And there's so much pressure behind it, and yeah. So I don't do it, and I know that's boring. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little, I'm kind of boring.
To me, it's
Sorry.
not boring, right? Because I think too, as someone, who is a person of faith, like that's also how I like to operate. Whenever I
Hmm.
meet men in general, I'm like you, I can tell in the first 5 minutes, the way
Yeah.
you're, talking, how you're looking at me. I already know in the 5 minutes, you're going to ask for my number and then you're going to send me a text and you're going to want some booty later. And then I'm going to have to
And
block you.
listen, you putting on chapstick, licking your lips. Why are you licking your lips? How old are we? What do you want? You trying to seduce me?
Licking lips. Dang, baby, you look good. Like,
Oh
sir,
yeah. Ugh.
calm down, because it don't
Mm-mm.
take all of that. Like, but I agree with you, like in the way that you're dating. That's how I like to show up too. And so when I meet men, and we talk maybe one conversation, and then I got to do better at this, but they're blocked the next day because
Oh.
you done wasted
Okay.
my time and my energy, right? And I already know what you want. You want somebody just to have
Yeah.
sex with. You're not looking for someone who wants a genuine friendship. They Men
Yeah.
don't even know how to accept. Oh, I'm not gonna say men. Most men don't know how to even accept what friendship looks like in a woman. It's a woman, like you're saying, coming to the table
Hmm.
where we just want to be cool. Like, I don't even know if I like you yet. I don't even know if you
Yeah.
don't even know if you want to spend your life savings on me yet. Like, have a conversation because I could be crazy. Like, I could be a weirdo. I could be a serial killer.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know me well enough. And I typically can tell like those men immediately the first time they meet me, if they're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be together forever, you want sex. Because now you're saying all the things, oh, I'm gonna marry you. That's not
Love
normal.
bombing is real.
Love
That's real.
bombing. I'm like, this is not real. You're a I'm good, sir. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
for sure.
Do you
And
think
I gotta,
go ahead.
well, I wanted to add like, girl, I lost my train of thought. You had said something and it like just struck a little bit of, oh, I think it's extremely important because I know we like to talk about men all the time, but as women, I feel like we really got to take more accountability because it's really us. It's really up to us in terms of like who we are choosing to be with and how we are showing up and what we really want. Because guess what? A lot of women, especially the older you get, girl, you really want that thing too. Let's just be honest. And
I
even
agree.
save people in the church because there are these natural things happening with their bodies. Your hormones are all, all over the place. And so a lot of women are coming in very lustful, right? Which is why we're showing up half dressed, half naked, right? And then you want to get mad at somebody because they're being disrespectful to you. However, at the end of the day, it's like you have to show up the way that you want to be treated. Carry yourself like a lady, whatever that looks like to you. And at the end of the day, give respect to get respect. And don't come in with these expectations. And I just feel like we got to start treating men better. Like, just be nicer. You don't got to be mean. And then guess what? A lot of times, the person who you're attracting is really a reflection of your very own spirit. And so it's like, you got to check yourself. Like, what energy are you bringing into this situation? And so, yeah, I feel like just individually, we just got to take more accountability
I
for
agree with
sure.
you. I agree with you. I had a guy friend. He told me because at some point, this was probably maybe like the beginning of last year. I was meeting, and honestly, I still do just meet, people out. I'm
Yeah.
a social person, or people tend to think that I'm social. They just, kind of
Uh-huh.
naturally feel that energy
You're
from me.
social. Mm-hmm.
And so, men will approach, and all kind of
Mm-hmm.
men, like whether they have jobs, unemployed, like black, white, whatever, they'll approach me. And at some point, I'm just giving everybody a chance. And my guy friend,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, you don't love yourself. He said, you don't respect
Ooh.
yourself. And I got a little offended. I'm like, ooh. But I'm like, oh, but he's right. Because if I respected myself in the beginning of last year, like I said I would, I'm not just
Mm-hmm.
going to accept anything. Like that is
Yep.
not a woman who loves herself, understands her value, and if she has to tell 100 men no to get to that one yes, she'll stand in that,
Yeah.
trusting fully, that God is going to, give her the desires of her heart. And I think too, it's looked down. Women. We talk about standards, right? I've
Mm-hmm.
told men, and I think this mistake too. I've told certain friends, like over the years, certain guy friends, my list, and they tell me all the time, like that's not possible. You want a dude, who's holding himself or saving himself for marriage. You want a guy who's abstinent. They're like, Crystal, where these men at? And I'm like, my person
They
who is for
exist.
me, somewhere out there. Because I'm like, if I'm holding
Absolutely.
myself, baby, you got to come to the table, with that
Absolutely.
too, right? Like, to me, it's normal. But to the world, they're like, girl,
Mm-hmm.
we're not doing that. My next question, I guess, for you is when it comes to, showing up in dating, do you think that successful women are misunderstood in the dating space? Or do you think that it doesn't matter if, if a woman is successful or not? It's just an issue that all women kind of deal with when it comes to dating.
Well, I will say that oftentimes when you are out of alignment, you will definitely be misunderstood. And people, unfortunately, they get really insecure. They can get really insecure, and then they're like, oh, well, this person intimidates me. And so, often, like when that happens, there's going to be some manipulation occurring, right? Because now you feel the need to show up in this way because you feel like I'm intimidating you. Um, and because of the way that I naturally speak, you're going to feel the need to, like, okay, let me try something else with this particular individual. And I get misjudged all the time, depending on what I got on. However, when you start to talk to me, you're going, okay. Okay, I had you pegged completely wrong. And then some people, even when you show them, they don't believe you. A lot of men, they just don't believe women. They're like, no, I gotta wait this out because I know what you're saying, but I gotta make sure that everything that you're saying is accurate because people like to put on a show. Everybody likes to perform in this dating space, men and women. And so, they say oftentimes, test the fruits. And at the end of the day, if you look at my fruit, you can ask the people who actually know me the questions and they will give you the answers that you're looking for. And so I personally just feel like I'm always misunderstood. And I have often in the past gotten taken advantage of because I have been naive, because I do love people, I do care about people. And there was a part of me that genuinely just believed that people were good and decent. And when a man told you you were beautiful, he meant it. But my sister told me a long time ago, girl, she said, it ain't your beauty, it's your booty. And
Okay,
I was like,
pause, pause. Because when I
what?
tell you, I was going to say that exact same thing. I was going to say the exact same thing. My godmom said before,
Oh,
if a man is called to you before he sees your
yeah.
booty, he's going to see your beauty. That is so funny. Okay, girl, go ahead.
And I know this is I'm not sure this PG whatever, but let's just keep it real. Like it's something about a woman's behind. When certain men see it, their mind just goes elsewhere. They're not focused on anything else.
Yeah.
And so that's why the way that you show up does matter. And it's just like, okay, if you want to be taken seriously, if you want them to listen to anything that you're saying, you might have to wear a longer shirt or a sweater. And let's just keep it real. I know like we're like there's like a feminist movement happening, and I should be able to dress however I want and receive respect. But a old boss told me a long time ago, like perception is reality. People are going to judge you based off how you look, period. Whatever you look like, that's what they're going to assume. And until you show them different, they're not going to know. And so when you're dating, you have to be mindful of that. And I don't even know what dating, I really don't even understand it. Like, what is it? No, for real.
Well, the actual definition of dating is to collect data, right? So it's collecting data to see if you
I didn't
even
know you
like
had a real answer.
somebody.
That's actually hilarious that you have an answer.
Data,
That's funny. Yeah.
dating data is data collection,
Yeah.
right? And then I think there are levels to it, right? Like you collect data and then you decide that you want to be mutually, exclusive at some point.
Yeah.
But also what you're saying is I have been trying to be in this space of where I want to dress, a little bit more conservative. Just because, I go to the gym and stuff. And so I'm like, I might have to cover up my behind because I've
Hmm.
been in the gym wondering
Yeah.
why people's husbands, are staring at me and the wives are like looking at me crazy. And I'm like, I'm not even looking at your man. Or why people are trying to bother me in the gym. And I'm like, girl, baby, you got to cover that thing up because you're right.
Yeah.
People see it, you automatically get lustful. And then don't
Yeah.
let them, see you got a little shape, child. They out of
Mm.
hand. They become out of hand and out of pocket. And I'm like, you know what? We're gonna put a
Yeah.
we're gonna put a pin in it and let it go. But I love what you're saying, right? You're saying to be strategic, right? And the way that you're dating is very unorthodox. But I think
Yeah.
as a Christian, it's supposed to be. We're not supposed to date like the world dates. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, sometimes you can't really tell the difference. Do you have any last words or any advice? I guess you gave some pretty good advice when it comes to dating. Do you have any advice
Yeah.
when it comes to dating, or just career, or just pivoting, or dreams, or goals? Anything else you'd like to say?
So really quickly, I just have to touch on because I know we didn't get to talk about it, but it's a lot of people who have experienced trauma in their lifetime, trauma from when they were a child, trauma growing up, whatever. And they bring that into the spaces that they go into, your work, your career, your friendships, your love life. That trauma will often seep into and start to reveal some things, your attachment styles, so on and so forth. And so my traumatic story, there wasn't an outside villain. I was the villain of my story. And so for me, I had to do major surgery in order to really fix those areas that were broken and really just take a mirror. like Michael Jackson says, I really had to look in the mirror and say, okay, all these areas where things have not gone the way that I wanted them to go, who was responsible? And at the end of the day, it was me. And so I say, do the work on yourself. Quit looking and pointing the finger at everybody else because it's not them. Be the change that you wish to see, period. When you change, your life will change, period. And that's what is that? Clock that T.
Clock
Is that what
it.
they say?
Yes,
Is that
clock
what the
it.
young people say, girl? Clock it. I can't
Girl,
even
I
do it fast enough.
guess.
My
I'll
hands
be
too
late.
slow.
I'll be late to
I don't
home.
know, and I don't even care anymore. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna talk like I talk. And if y'all want to call me old, you can call me old. That's fine. You can call me old. That's fine. But yeah, like be the change you wish to see. It's never anyone else. It's always you. Always. Do the work, put forth the effort, read the books, go to the conferences, learn how to pray, learn how to read the word and understand who God is so you can figure out who you are so you can show up better in every single one of your relationships. And that's all I got to say.
I know that's right. I don't even have anything to add because that part was so good. So for our listeners and viewers, how can we reach you on social media?
Oh, girl. Am I even on social media? Okay, so I have two pages. So I have a hair page called Maintain My Mane um, on Instagram, and then of course I have my own personal page, and that is I don't even know what it's called, to be honest.
I'm gonna say, do I need to find it?
Girl, Miss underscore Davis 27. Um, and then of course on YouTube I have a page called Vision Architects. That's VISIONARTI. I'm sorry, girl, you make me laugh.
I think we know how to spell architect, man.
No, it's not spelled. No, it's not spelled the same way. That's why I'm spelling it out.
Oh, okay. So look,
So
vision
architects
and
is actually
then
spelled
okay.
Vision Architects, but architects is spelled different. So instead of the way that you normally spell it, it's spelled TECHS. So there's no T.
Okay. Awesome. I'll go
Yeah.
ahead and I'll link
Yeah.
it to in
So
the
like architects, like technology.
I love.
Yeah.
Then she
Yeah.
said she was smart, y'all. Didn't she say she was smart that she didn't
Yeah.
have to try
Yeah.
hard? I love that. Well, let me tell you something, Ashley. Honestly, I've enjoyed today's conversation. Like, I am so
Yeah.
full. I appreciate like all of the knowledge that you brought to today's episode. And to our viewers, go ahead and follow her. Like, she has so many great gems on love, life, career, entrepreneurship, all the things. Go ahead and follow her and show her some support. And I thank you again,
Mhm.
Ashley, for joining us on this
Yes. Thank you so
episode.
much.
All right, y'all.
Thank
We'll see you guys
you.
again soon.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.